You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. Joining me on the program is Abdul Razak Bhuya, who's an advocate from Guwahati. What we will discuss today is an important issue that is dominating discourse, at least in the state of Assam. Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sharma led Assam government is all set to introduce a significant bill in the upcoming state assembly session starting 22nd August, which will make compulsory government registrations of marriages and divorces among Muslim community in the state. The opposition has stated that they will only support the amendment of the child marriage provision, but the government meddling with marriage and divorce provisions will not be tolerated and will be fervently opposed. So, clear stand taken by the government and the opposition in this matter. The bill is set to be introduced on the 22nd of August. What we are getting to know, of course, is that the chief minister has made a very passionate support of this bill, saying we support the amendment of the bill, but if they want to repeal the bill, this is what the opposition says, that if they want to repeal the bill, we will protest and fight against this. We want to rectify the provision of child marriage in the bill. Himanta Biswa Sharma wants to repeal this act, according to the opposition, because he wants to play the card of communalism. So that is the position taken by AIUDF in the state. The Congress also says that meddling with the affairs of personal law and religious personal matter is not acceptable. So let me then bring in Mr. Abdul Razak, who's with us at the moment, to understand this issue better. Namaskar, Dhanyabad. Thank you for joining us on Viewpoint. I want to begin by asking you that this is a very contentious issue. The Assam's Muslim marriage divorce registration bill, it has already evoked strong reactions. Where do you stand on the matter? What are the objections raised to this bill as of now?
Yes, thank you, Madam Afrida, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to share my views from my limited knowledge and understanding. Actually, ma'am, what is happening in the state of Assam is that there is a law enacted pre-constitutional as well as the pre-independent era law that is known as the Assam Muslim Marriages and Divorce Registration Act of 1935. Kindly see the year. It is of 1935 Act and it is governing till by way of an ordinance that is called the ordinance passed to repeal or to curtail the operation of the Act of 1935 on 14th of March 2024. They have already, this act is nullified and not governing in the state of Assam. 1935 Act from 14th of March 2024. Now it is the issue that the, as you know, that the governor has passed the ordinance by exercising his jurisdiction under Article 213 of the Constitution of India as an emergent situation. The
Mhm.
governor, honorable governor, has passed this ordinance to we can say to repeal the 1935 Act as a
Okay.
temporary measure because the ordinance has a validity of only 6 months. So now, as the 6 months period is going to be over very shortly, so
Yeah.
therefore the government in a very hush hush and in a hurried manner has now placed a bill before the assembly, which has started this session from today, 22/8, 2024. And as I have come to some unconfirmed report that bill has already been legislated and debate is also going on. Now the
Right.
difficulty is that once I have to also apprise you that this ordinance is already sub judice before the Honorable Guwahati High Court. We have put into challenge the validity and legality of the ordinance, and we have termed the same as unconstitutional and ultra virus to the Constitution
Okay.
of India. And that matter had also been heard today by the
Mhm.
Honorable Division Bench of the Honorable Guwahati High Court. In a batch of writ petition altogether, more than 9 writ petitions had been filed challenging this ordinance. Now,
Mhm.
the problem is that if the ordinance is now sub judice before the Honorable Court, and are you online, ma'am?
Yes, I'm online. Please carry on.
Okay. Yes, yes. Now the issue is that the next date of hearing has been fixed on, I think, 30th of August 2024. Now, if in the meantime, if the act is passed in the assembly, that the repealing act will be there to repeal the 1935 act, then this ordinance will become infructuous, and our challenge to the Honorable Guwahati High Court, all the writ petitions will become infructuous. Infructuous, I think you know that it will be not a live issue is required to be decided at the moment before the Honorable Guwahati High Court. Now, in the this proceeding, which is pending before the Honorable Guwahati High Court, the state has also filed an affidavit clarifying that why it was required to repeal the 1935 Act. That they have said that we have to curtail the child marriages in the state of Assam by taking recourse of the provision of Section 8 as well as Section 10 and Rule 26 of this Act is now permitting the Muslim marriage registrar appointing under this Act to register even the child marriages also. So, therefore, to curtail the child marriage, we have decided to, as a whole,
Yes, that
repeal
is
the
the
entire
argument
Act.
given by the Chief Minister, that our main aim is to
Exactly,
eradicate child marriage, to identify those cases, and to ensure that such
exactly.
marriages do not get registered. Let's listen into what Himanta Biswa Sharma
होते
had to
थे
say. I'm coming
Sure,
उनको
back to
sure,
you.
काजी
sure,
रजिस्टर
sure.
करते थे। आज से ये सरकार में रजिस्टर होगा और उस बिल में पहले प्रावधान था कि माइनर का मैरिज भी रजिस्टर हो सकता है। आज से माइनर का शादी रजिस्ट्रेशन नहीं होगा। तो बेसिकली यही दो प्रोविजन है। बेसिकली चाइल्ड मैरिज, वी वांट टू अटैक ऑन द चाइल्ड मैरिज।
Okay, तो आपने सुना, basically what he's trying to say, of course, is that we are basic aim is to identify cases of child marriage, and the one way of doing it is to ensure that they don't go via the Qazi. They have to come to a government. The sub registrar of the Assam government will be the authority in charge. Is this going to make the Qazis in a way irrelevant, redundant? And is that going to be a problem with the Muslim community? The clerics are becoming redundant with this new law, as it appears.
Actually, ma'am, this the whole concept of repealing this act is misconceived by the state of Assam. Why I am telling you? Because, as you know, in the concurrent list of the Constitution of India, the subject of marriage and registration has been incorporated as a two different subjects. Now, marriage is solemnizing, and without solemnizing the marriages, you cannot register it. That is the purport of the Act of 1935. The Muslim marriage registers are being appointed only to register the marriages and divorces. Now they have no role to play with the solemnizing the marriage. They are only required to register the marriage on an oral applications being made by the bride or groom, or there is a provision under section 8 is there that if the bride and groom are minor, then their lawful guardian can approach the Muslim marriage registrar for registration of the marriages only. Now you see, ma'am, there is a distinction. There is a distinction between the solemnization of the marriage and registration of the marriages. Otherwise, we are helping the government to keeping the record that how many child marriages has been already solemnized of the Muslim community in the state of Assam.
No, no, I have
Because
an intervention. Now the government is saying solemnized or not, none of that will be considered legal unless it is registered. So if the community thinks that our Qazi has solemnized the marriage, but we have not registered, that marriage will not be considered legal.
no.
Isn't
How
that a
that can
problem?
be, ma'am? You see, registration is a process of an by way of an statute. Now, I think you are well aware about the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court in Seema versus Ashwani Kumar, wherein the Honorable Supreme Court has directed the entire state, entire country, all the state government, that you make a law for the compulsory registration of the marriages of irrespective of religion, caste, and creed. Now,
Yes.
why you are only targeting in the state of Assam the Muslim community? Why you are not making law for the registration of marriages of the compulsory registration of the marriages of the Christian or the Hindus or the other religions who are residing in the sorry in the state of Assam? So therefore they are targeting only with the people with the Islamic faith or the Muslim.
Yes. Carry on. Carry on. I think
Yes.
we've lost your line. No,
Now,
carry on.
now, yeah. Some calls are coming. That's why. Sorry for the
Okay.
interruption.
No, no, that's
Okay.
okay.
Now you see, ma'am, as the Honorable Chief Minister, what he has stated regarding the validity of the marriage, I don't think so. from my limited legal knowledge, that the registration of marriage and non-registration of the marriage will invalidate the marriage of the religious rituals which are required to be performed. There is no nexus with the religious rituals with the registration of marriages. Even in the 1935 Act also clarifies that if the marriage is not registered, or if a certificate is not there with the registration documents, then that does not nullifies the marriage and divorces. That is the purport of the Act of 1935. So the
Okay.
concept of the state of Assam, that
Mhm.
it is promoting, or you can say that it is sponsoring the enhancement of the child marriages of the Muslim community, is totally a misconceived idea. This is
Mm,
for
mm.
some other oblique motive. Maybe there are some political agenda. Maybe, as I am not a political person, I am a person from the legal fraternity, so I can only speak about the legal issues. But what is the political agenda, or what is the oblique motive behind this, I don't know. You see, the triple talaq issues came. Now the uniform civil code is also coming. Why and who are being targeted by of all these issues? As we have, it is very clear from their conduct of the government in the state of Assam.
Hmm, hmm. So you're saying this is not a well-conceived policy. You are indicating that this is sort of a posturing. Perhaps you are trying to say that there is a political agenda. Legally, what you are telling us is that you are going to contest this bill because it is unconstitutional. Can you elaborate on that point? What are the arguments that you will make to establish that this is unconstitutional?
Ma'am, you see that this is a very simple issue, not so very complicated. As we are all know that Article 25 to 30 is relates with the your protection of the religious and cultural rights. Article 25 is very clear that the right of the free professional, the every person can have the access to the freedom of their religious profession. So they can carry on. Now, how you are going to connect with the registration with the marriage solemnization? You see, the Muslim under the 1935 Act, these persons are being licensed, not appointed. You kindly take note of this issue, that they are
Yes.
being licensed. Now, license given to whom? You cannot throw away. You cannot put a license, or you cannot offer a license to anybody. For holding the post of the Muslim marriage register, you have to have an special qualification, like it is called FM, which degree had earlier been provided by the state madrasa education board, but that board now has also been abolished, and the madrasa education system has also been abolished in the state of Assam. Now the matter is sub judice before the Honorable Supreme Court of India. And
Mhm.
now from that board, you have to acquire a degree called FM, that is Fadilul Ma'arif, or Madrasa Final Examination Pass, along with your general qualification is also required. Then only there is a selection committee, there will be an advertisement, that you, if somebody is interested for particular area, to being appointed as a Muslim marriage registrar, he can apply. Then selection committee selected. Then there is a long procedure of selecting the persons. Then only you can, if you are selected on merit, then the government, that the Inspector General of Registration in the state of Assam, under the
Mhm.
Land and Revenue and Disaster Management, offered this license. So this license, once you get the license, you are not being permanently appointed. You have to render your service for a period of probationary period of 2 years. Then thereafter you have to again come out for an examination, and if you can pass the examination, then your appointment will be permanent and substantive. So therefore, now what the government is doing, why this specialization is required, I am telling you, because the nikah, before registration of the marriages, a person should have an expertise to examine that whether the religious rituals had been properly effected or not. That specialization can only be examined by a specialized person having specialized knowledge of the Islamic personal law or the Sharia law. Now, these people have the special knowledge, that Muslim marriage registrar. So, therefore, now if you are going to abolish this post and want to give the registration duty to some sub registrar, as I have come to know from the media report, that now they are going
Yes.
to give power of registration to the sub registrar, like the registration of the lands. Registration of the lands and registration of the marriage is two different concepts, ma'am, as you know. So therefore, if the nikah is not solemnized in a proper religious manner, then that nikah is void ab initio, and the child which is going to be born out of that will be illegitimate. Lot of religious consequences will come. So therefore, our contention is that you have interfered with our personal law, Quranic law, as well as the Sharia Application Act of 1937. Because the Sharia Application Act of 1937 is a parliamentary law made in the year 1937, and the subject of religion has also been governed under Section 2 of the said Act. Now, the subject of marriage, as it is there in the Section 2 of the Act, that means we have to follow the Quranic provision or our personal
Yes.
law
So what
without.
you are saying is the exact sentiment expressed by AIUDF. I'm sharing this tweet actually. Can you see
Okay.
this? Are you able to see it?
No, ma'am, it is not visible in my
Okay,
screen.
it's not visible in your screen. Okay, then
Okay.
I will just try to. I'll just try to fix that. Sorry about that. Sorry
No,
about
no,
that.
no.
I was trying to
Okay,
actually read out.
what is the tweet actually?
Okay, I was just trying to read this out.
Okay.
That the AIUDF is saying we will protest and fight. My voice is echoing. I think
No, no, it's okay. I can hear you.
it's okay. You can hear me.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So I 1 second. This has to be closed. I was saying that you have a situation here where the AI audible. Am I audible to you? Am I audible to you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now you are
Yeah. Okay.
reconnected and audible also.
Sorry. There was some glitch over there.
No, it's ma'am. Carry on.
And what they are saying is similar to what you're saying. We support the amendment of the bill, but if they want to repeal the bill, we will protest and fight against this. We want to rectify the provision of child marriage in the bill. And
Okay.
Himanta Biswa Sharma wants to repeal this act because he wants to play the card of communalism. We have no problem with registering our marriages and divorce, but we will also follow the rules of Muslim law. The magistrate will never be able to take over the job of a Qazi. So we will
Exactly.
oppose the bill. We won't say anything about not amending the child marriage provisions in the act because even we do not want child marriage. Repealing this act will be against Sharia. Now, this is the Congress party, Wajid Ali Chaudhry, saying this. I'm also
Okay.
reading out another quote from Congress MLA Nurul Huda. Muslim
Okay.
marriage will happen as per Quran and Hadith. It cannot happen in court. The government has no right to meddle with religion. This is an attempt to go against a particular community. We will not accept it. We will oppose it. So, whether it is the Congress, whether it is the AIUDF, or legal fraternity like you who look at it from the constitutional perspective, are opposing it. But what happens when you have the numbers in the assembly, when you pass a bill like that?
Yes,
It's going to be a long drawn legal battle. Will the
exactly.
people suffer in the process? On ground, what happens now?
Exactly, ma'am. And what the outcome of the now what type of compulsory registration act they are going to make? I have not seen the black and white of the bill also, as well as the statute also, which they have placed and legislated before the assembly. One thing I want to apprise you, ma'am, regarding the attempt of the government, which they have attempted, is purely an unconstitutional attempt, because the manner in which the ordinance was passed today, the honorable division bench of the honorable Guwahati High Court was pleased to ask the Advocate General of the state of Assam that what was that emergent situation arises that you have repealed the Act of 1935 by of such an ordinance. Now, for that, the honorable division bench has asked the Advocate General of Assam to enlighten the court on the next date of hearing. So now the second attempt which they are making is to repeal the 1935 Act by way of an statute. Now you see, ma'am, the government is always empowered to place any bill or to make any law by their
Discretion.
policy making decision as per the situation which is prevailing. But as you
Yes.
know that you can make a policy, but you cannot violate the fundamental constitutional as well as the legal rights of the citizen of India. Now, in the state of Assam, we are more than 100. We are more than 1 crore population of the people residing in the state of Assam of the Muslim community. Now, this 1 crore population, there is no forum from 14th of March till date, that there is no forum available for registration of the marriages as well as for the registration of the divorces. So therefore, as a whole, the 1 crore population is now suffering. More particularly, the women community is suffering because they do not have any legal document available with them to to demonstrate that my marriage was solemnized and this is the certificate issued by the Muslim marriage registrar or Qazi. One distinction is there between the Qazi and Muslim marriage registrar is that Qazis are being appointed under the Qazis Act of 1887. That act is a parliamentary legislation and government is not touching with the provisions of the Qazis or something like that. Prevailing from the year 1887, and lots of Qazis are also being appointed by the state of Assam by invoking the jurisdiction under the Qazis Act of 1887. They are not disturbing the Qazis. Now there is the media and the other sources are saying that the Qazis are also being repealed. Actually, Qazis are not being repealed. The Muslim marriage registrar and their posts are going to be repealed, or it has already been abandoned from 14th of March 2024. So therefore there is a distinction. I am clarifying it. So people has also
Okay.
misunderstood this concept.
But I want
Qazis
to
were
ask
women.
you this question because it has a larger resonance. The way it is being projected is this is to target child marriage. And then, it is obviously going to have a lot of takers. A lot of people would say, what is wrong then? If it is going to arrest the tendency, the pattern of child marriages that are happening, why should the government not do it? So, what would be your response to those people who are purely basing it on the menace of child marriage?
Ma'am, actually, you see, this is a very serious religious as well as the legal issue regarding the child. The definition of child has
Hmm.
not yet been fixed by the Holy Quran as well as the other religious hadith and other Islamic personal law books wherein it has been written that who is a child. Now, I am telling you that there is a recent judgment of the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court, wherein it has been categorically and elaborately discussed, and a finding has been given by the Honorable Punjab and Haryana High Court in Javed versus State of Punjab and Haryana, wherein it has been held that as per the Muslim personal law, when a girl attained the age of puberty, that is being termed as a 15 years, and if that girl gives consent without any force or coercion to enter into marriage, then if she enter into a marriage, then that cannot be termed as a child marriage. Now, as the
But
Punjab
that
and Haryana,
clashes with the law of the land. All over India, the
no,
legal age for marriage is 18.
classes with the law of the land.
How can you have a separate criteria
Am I
for a
audible,
particular
ma'am?
community? Yes, you're audible. I'm
Audible?
saying, how can you have a separate criteria for one community when the legal age for marriage for women in this country is 18? Based on personal law, it's a real problem. It's a real conflict.
Exactly, ma'am. As a conscious citizen of this country, I also opposes the child marriage below 18 years because I am a man of biology basically, and I
Hmm.
know that not prepared to tolerate the biological changes which are going to be held before 18 years of age. Now the problem is that the Muslim personal law and the Quranic law has been protected by the Sharia Application Act of 1937. Now that judgment of the Punjab and Haryana High Court has been put into challenge before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and the Honorable Supreme Court of India, by way of order, has already held that this is a very serious and contentious legal issue. So we have to examine and we have to give our reasons and finding that whether the personal law will prevail over the general and special law or not. Now that matter is now sub judice before the Honorable Supreme Court of India, and Supreme Court of India has also passed an interim order that the judgment delivered by the Punjab and Haryana High Court should not be treated as a precedent in any other court of the country. So therefore, though that judgment has been passed, now we are awaiting the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court of India. In
So
such a situation,
ultimately, are you saying that this is going to boil down to a UCC debate? Let's be very clear. All of
at the
this is going to ultimately come under the ambit of UCC, whether the court thinks that there can be a uniform civil code. But the Chief Minister of Assam is very clear who he wants to exempt from UCC. Tribal communities are exempted. So if you actually go by the logic that has been presented, Parsis are exempted, tribals are exempted, Gora Muslims
then
are
once
exempted.
the
Who is
word
left behind? Which
no
is the
no once
community
the
left behind who's being targeted becomes clear, isn't it?
the word exemption and uniform you cannot correlate with each other.
Exactly. That's a
If it
contradiction.
is if it is if it is uniform, then there cannot be an exemption. So the word itself contradicts with each other. I know that there is a six schedule areas in the state of Assam. They have some special constitutional provisions are there. But the problem is that when you are going to now you see the process of cremation. We in Islam we do janaza, and the in for the Hindus it is being done mukhagni and other ritual process are there. And in the marriages or solemnization of the marriages are also different state to state, district to district for the Hindus there.
Hmm.
Therefore, yeah, how you will make all these things uniform? Is it possible? It is not at all
Hmm.
possible, ma'am. So there are lots of complications will come in near future if the uniform civil code is applied in the entire country as a parliamentary law. Then it will be more difficult. Or in our state of Assam, in every district, there are different tribal people are residing, different religion, different people, different caste, different creed. How you will bring all this into one umbrella? It will be a very tough job for the government. So if that
So
you speak up.
what I'm trying to communicate to my audience as well, Mr. Abdul Razak, is that I'm from Assam, so I'm very familiar with some of the ground
Yes,
realities there. I have spoken to a lot of young girls from the rural areas. There are people, there are house helps who work at my parents' place as well. And when you talk to them, you want to understand from these young girls that obviously many of them have got married before the legal age, right? It's very
yes,
rampant. Let's be very clear about the facts here, about what is the reality. We call a spade. So it is very rampant that a 14-year-old 15-year-old Muslim girl is married. She already has two kids by the time she's 17, 18. This is what I have observed. When I go into this issue, when I talk to them, there are two, three things I have observed. So you can tell me how this can be addressed, whether the government is in a way right in cracking the whip or there is another way. When you talk to them, they'll tell you that the moment you attain puberty, it becomes the responsibility of the father to somehow get you into somebody else's house. In the sense, have you married to someone so that he does not bear the responsibility of anything untoward happening to the girl. So, in a way, the father has to save himself the disgrace of any transgression happening on a girl who have attained puberty. There is a fear of unwanted pregnancy, etc. So, the father wants to get rid of that responsibility. This is what
they
I have
really
been told by the women. Okay, they have told me
exactly.
this, that there is a fear of disgrace, of indignity for the father the moment you attain puberty. So, these are the ground realities of
You
poor
you
communities.
have raised the absolute
Yeah.
ground reality and the very
But
correct
why?
ground
How do you
reality.
address this? But that doesn't mean you will
No,
allow
you
these
see.
women to get married early and have
So
children. It's unhealthy for
exactly,
them.
ma'am. This issue can only be addressed because these are happening. These incidents are happening in very inside and remote areas, wherein the people are not aware about the consequences of the child marriages. And secondly, lack of education is also there. Now, when and in what manner a girl is fully fit to give birth, child biological fitness is required. These things they don't know. They only know that once the puberty is there, so there is a chances of any kind of social any kind of an incident happen to my daughter that which may
But that is unfair on
uh,
the women, isn't it? So those
exactly
fathers will have to be
yeah,
told that just to save your skin, you cannot
exactly
throw your girls to the wolves. You don't do
exactly
that in a civilized society.
exactly. This is a very serious issue, and it needs a detailed policy. It needs a very highly thinkable policy decision of the government that in what
There is
manner
also the poverty issue, isn't it? There's one
poverty
mouth
issue is
less to feed. One mouth less
exactly
to feed, you get rid of the girl, and so that all of these factors are not discussed. It is simply
exactly
being made out as if the religion allows girls to get married when you attain puberty. Therefore, this is happening. But the reality
exactly
is something else, which is not being addressed. And I would like to, of course, use this opportunity since we have a lot of audience watching us live now on YouTube and Twitter,
exactly
that improving levels of education, uplifting them from abject poverty, that is a difficult route. Cracking the whip this way, because for every single thing you want the community to go to the thana, go to the police, go to the registrar. That cannot happen. Even for alimony, the government wants to do that. now the woman has to go to the court directly, so practically there are problems. But what
Practical
you are
problem is
explaining
that,
to us,
now
that
I
legality
want
also
to
is
apprise you, ma'am.
relevant.
I am
Yeah.
sorry interrupting you. I want to apprise you one thing. Under the Child Marriage Prohibition Act of 2006, there is a provision for appointment of the child marriage protection officers. Do you know that in the state of Assam, it has only in the year 2023 they have appointed the child marriage protection officers. Now you
Hmm.
see the role of the government. They were also in a deep slumber. They don't want to act upon the 2006 act. Only in the year 2023, of the last part of 2023, the government become has played an active role for curbing the child marriages by arresting these people. And what
About
they have done, they
4,000
have
people have been arrested. 4,000.
arrested.
And what happens to those
Because
destitute women?
exactly, there is no policy of those destitute women at this moment. Ma'am,
Hmm.
I'm sorry
Hmm.
interrupting you. I
Yes, I
have to
know you
leave.
have to leave. I thank you so much for joining me. I wish we could extend this
Yes,
conversation, but you have another commitment. Thanks so much,
exactly.
Mr. Abdul Razak Bhuiya, for joining us on Viewpoint. So it's important to understand these things. What you heard Advocate Abdul Razak also tell us few important things about how this bill is unconstitutional was explained. He says that you cannot violate the fundamental right of the people, of course, referring to the right to religion, which is guaranteed under Constitution. He says, why make it compulsory only for Muslims? Why is one community being selectively targeted? That's a real question. If it is true for a Muslim, it should be true for everyone. So the moment you make it a very community based, a religious community based law, it is going to be looked at with suspicion. And especially with the BJP government in Assam, with its track record, this is bound to happen. But it is an interesting conversation, and the debate and the discussions must continue around this. Thank you for joining us on Viewpoint. Thank you for watching.